the change. We help the change to come sometimes. Hi, it's your girl NENECHERRY here. Sparkle in love with a dash of kindness. Yes, you have to sparkle in love with a dash of kindness. If you're tuning in for the first time, you are welcome. Please do stay by liking, by subscribing, and hitting the notification button so that when I upload a new video, you will be among the MVP. Yes, the MVP know this. And yeah, do comment, do share as to many people as you like. I mean, it will help my content to grow. And to those that are tuning in, for the first, second, fourth, fifth, everybody, you are welcome and thank you. I appreciate you so, so much. Okay. I hope you're all doing well. Uh, yeah, I missed you guys. All right. Imagine this. You were on top of the world. People knew you. You had the power. They celebrated you. And then there comes this little guy taking your shine. How would you feel? Bad, right? I know. And so many of us, we are like, no, there's no two nenes here. So it's that one nene has to go. And this is how we do it. But do you know, by you accepting not the challenge, but the change itself helps you to grow. And I will explain soon what I'm talking about because today's lesson is accepting change. Yes, it's even hard for me to say it because I mean, change is not the most comfortable thing that any of us would want, but it's inevitable. Change just happens, and it just happens without even announcing. Because I mean, if it will tell you that tomorrow it's going to change, I mean, you're going to prepare for that change, and it will seem as though there's nothing that's changing at all. But we're talking about where maybe you lose a loved one, you did not even expect it. That's a drastic change. You lose your job. That's a drastic change. You separate from the one that you love, be it is your husband, be it is your friend, or whatever it could be. That's also another drastic change. But then there's also this other change where it wants you to improve you. And sometimes because you become too comfortable where you are. So sometimes for you to get there, some things need to change from here in order for you to get there. I don't know if you understand it. But now, the thing that I started with talking about where you were the one who celebrated and everything, I'm taking it back in the Bible where Saul, King Saul, to the Bible scholars know who this person is, right? Or this person was in the Bible, is that he was a king and he never lost a battle in his life. I think at least just one. And this time the Philistines come to invade his country, if I'm putting it this way, his nation. And so he's challenged. He's challenged because he's like, I'm not gonna fight him. He's a giant. And the others are like, ooh, I know we are thousands, but fighting that, we cannot. And there comes this little boy, this mighty little boy, David, and he hears Goliath talk bad about his God, and he's like, oh no, sir, you're not going to do this in my nation where we serve a true living God. And he says, you know what, I will fight him when all the big people that you think are the greatest are like, oh, we can do this, we left our family home. And he's like, no, I'll do it. I'll take up the challenge. And so then, and what's funny is that he's like, okay, can you do it? And in my mind, in my crazy mind, is like, King Saul, when this little boy, I even wonder how old was he? If thousands of people, your soldiers that have been trained, are scared of a soldier guy who's one and just tall, and you also cannot fight maybe at this moment because they're waiting maybe for so many people to be gone, and then you, the commander in chief, you may take up. But either way, how was he so trusting, trusting a little boy to conquer a giant? That's amazing, man. It's amazing. And you see, sometimes we aid the change. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. We aid the change, we help the change to come sometimes. And in as much as we know that we're going to be uncomfortable to eat, but they need to come a time when you need to accept the change, right? So, okay, Saul accepts and says, okay, go with my sword, go with my shield, go with my royal, whatever it was that they were using at that time. And David tries it on, and David is like, you know what? I can fight in this. I don't know if it's because it was too heavy or what, but or maybe he just wanted to prove to say, if this giant thinks he's almighty and everything, let him see the almighty God that we have through a sling and a couple of stones, maybe 5 stones, I guess. And then he says he's not going to use that. And so David goes, and the faith that they had in him. And I think no one has ever been preached on in this sense, the faith that I don't know. I mean, I just don't know. I can't even comprehend it. And it's up to now when I just had that thing, I was like, oh my goodness, how? If there are 10,000 of soldiers that have been trained in a hefty, I don't know if that's a word, but in a hefty way of, you know, of being a soldier, are scared of one giant, a little boy with a sling. Just imagine, with stones. And you'll be like, yeah, go ahead. And then there has been this challenge of saying, if I get him, like if I get any of your men out, we take all your people to be our slave. So lives are at stake here. King Saul, what are you thinking? Wake up. Why would you let David do that? Huh? But no, man. Well, when God wants to work, God works. The faith was in him, like, go, man. If you can do it, do it. And I can imagine the brothers, like, bro, hey, you just left dad. You're just a shepherd boy. I know you've told the stories, because maybe they did not even see him kill the lion or the bear, but like, I know you've told the stories about this, but man, this is a whole giant. Look or listen, when he walks, the earth shakes, I know I'm being dramatic, but sorry. I'm just God is so good. God is so good, and my God is real, yo. My God is real. Just right now, I'm like, oh my goodness, how we have so much little faith in our God, man. If we could do that, because we've told this story, and I would say I'm one of the culprits that tell this story to the kids. And yes, we talk about how God is good at everything, but we haven't looked at this story in this angle as to, like, really how, if the 10,000, because I'm still there, I'm stuck there. But anyway, let's move on. So he conquers. Now, after he conquers, people stop singing praises to King Saul. Now they are calling David. Oh, hail David, oh, the King of Kings, and blah, blah, blah. I don't know how they were hailing him. And then I think it hits Saul and is like, okay, oh my goodness, he has taken the shine. This used to be my shine. Now, we all know the story that King Saul tried by all means, and when I mean by all means to try to get rid of David. So he was not going to let go. He was like, you know what? No, this cannot be my fate. This cannot be my kind of change. I know I need change in my life. Maybe, like 10,000 gold richer change. That's what I would take. Or maybe an extra wife, because at that time they would take that kind of change. Or maybe more servants, that kind of change. Or maybe have an extra tent somewhere if they were camping. That was the kind of change he was thinking. But to have a small boy to take over, he was like, no. But then we see where it leads him. And this is where I want to anchor our talk today. Because he's trying by all means. We see how his end was. We see how instead of his name to be that great, being a person that would go into war and come out victorious, and see how he ends up to be, just because of not accepting change. Now, let's understand this. Accepting change doesn't mean that all is well. Accepting change is knowing that, okay, this is now the situation. Now you plan to live around the situation. Moving on to know that, okay, what is the plan now? Where to go? Where do I start? And what move to make? That's how you accept the change. And so many of the great men that we may know in this world that have fallen, you would know that the fall came most of the times because they did not accept the change around them. There's another thing that also brought this whole thing is like, okay, I was watching the Daily Show just because Trevor Noah, I mean, go Africa, took over. So the time when it was like, he was going bad, I was like, but the show has been great. You've brought out so many good topics, and as funny as you are, you know what I mean, I joined you, like I was there with you, like I'm seeing you face to face. I'm like, yeah, tell a joke, come on, come on. And now he's like, you know what, I'm out of here, you know. And so many people are like, why now, what happened? And he was like, no, I need to leave when I am still needed. Okay, so that kind of change where he knew, like, okay, you know what, in order for me to get to another level, and I'm sure he's got bigger plans, because you cannot leave just because of change. You want to just leave to a certain place or anything. No, but I'm sure there's some plan that is, excuse me, that is taking him from where he was to another level, you know. So it's like, for in order for this change to happen, I have to move right now, and I need to make this move in order for me actually to be the greatest of the daily time show. You know what I mean? So this is why he did that. And sometimes we need to make those kind of change, and also accepting that, you know what, it saved its purpose. I mean, maybe now, I don't know if that's what's happening, and I'm just giving an example and my perception of saying, let's say that now the following of the daily show is no longer the same as it used to be. Remember, we had even gone to onto the pandemic, and it wasn't as live as it was supposed to be. It was not as lively as it's supposed to be. And then when he comes back, we can see that, okay, some, and this is just me, guys, not that this is what it is. And I'm not trying to be on daily bees, I don't know what they call it, feedback or anything, but I'm just trying to get that, okay, to get that context into what we're talking about. But let's just say that then he realizes that, no, if I stay longer here, one, things won't change. Maybe, okay, if it was any 1 million, just giving an example, I'm sure he ate more than that, or at least, I don't know. Okay, so he's saying, okay, because I'm earning 1 million right now, and if I don't get to change even into, if depending on the contract that he had or anything, say if it's 5 years time, he'll be just earning that 1 million, meaning he won't elevate, or whatever goals that he had put um, on plan won't be the same. So he was like, okay, I need to be strategic here, and therefore I need to move from this place to another. All right. Or even accepting to say, you know what, this is what it has become. And now, because it's like this, instead of me to say, okay, now let me wallow into this, I have to move from here in order for me to be in another space, a space that will elevate me, a space that will build me, or a space where I can speak freely and become who I am, being a child of God, or being a person that people love, you know. So by you doing that, accepting you're accepting the change. And sometimes you also have to move to places, you know, that it's a place that you don't want to be. It's either you're going back to the place that where you need to, where you used to be, or it's a new place that you need to adapt to. Now, if you're going back to a place that you don't want to be, it means things haven't been so well with you, and now you're choosing. Rather, now there's this change that you have to move from where you used to be. So, like, you're coming from there, going there. And most of the people, we know that the people were from the top, and they get to the bottom, most of the times they don't get to make it because one, they tend to overthink things, and they wallow into what has fallen them, and they don't think their way out. They just feel like, okay, you know what, I am finished and I am doomed. And I know it's easier said than done, and I'm not saying this just because I want to say it, but I know so that sometimes you become downcasted, that you don't even know how to be pulled out of it. But then the moment things will begin to change, even when it has been a drastic change, the moment things will begin to change is when you accept that, okay, this is now my situation, this is my loss, this is what has happened. Now that it has happened, what is it that I can do to improve myself? What is it that I need to do that I don't end up here again? What is it that I need to do in order to help me meet different people and the right people who will set me up again? That's accepting change. And that is on the positive side of accepting change. There are some people who accept change in a negative way. They're like, okay, now I've lost a job, or let's not even talk about a job where people, they tell you, there's some people, and I know I just had to pause because it's just like a flashback of a trauma or whatever, um, that I know too well, is that where they make you feel worthless. They make you feel like you are nobody. And you'll be like, am I good enough? Talk about, I don't even want to go there because it's quite deep and quite sensitive, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. You're treated so bad. They make you feel like you're close to nothing, or you're just nothing at all, and your hope is gone. That whatever you think about, you're just like, oh my goodness, how stupid can I be? And so you feel so down that instead of you trying to say, how can I bring yourself up, you just now accept and say, yes, I am a stupid one. Yes, I'm worthless. Yes, there's nothing that I can do. And you slip into depression, and sometimes not even about even depression, it's just that you slip into I don't know what I can even call it other than that. But you know that now your mindset shifts from being positive getting into negative. And we know that that's not a good thing, because when it gets there, and I know it too well, when it gets there, if you don't get a hang of it, or if you don't get help that you need, it can be the end of you. And sometimes you may think you're okay, and maybe at some point in time you feel like, you know what, forget it, I'm worthy and I'm gonna do it, but you didn't get the proper work, right? And then you begin to build. But there'll come a time when something will trigger that again, and then you're gonna crumble 10 times more than you're supposed to, than you were supposed to have crumbled if you had taken the right path. Yes, be optimistic about it, and then also begin to start saying, okay, what can I do going forward and everything. But by you accepting, because at the beginning, when you're saying accepting change, don't accept negatively, if I may say this. Accept it in a positive way. And from there, start surrounding yourself with the right people that will help you to elevate you. And when I'm talking about elevation, I'm not even talking about even non-material side. I am talking about the spiritual side. I'm talking about the psychological side. I'm talking about the physical side. Because after you get this right first, then the material, then the whatever that needs to come to you will come to you. And then also find, if you can get to therapy, go to therapy, and they will help you. And I know, and I think I'm not even the first one to say this, I've heard so many people, especially the Africans, and if I may put it this way, men actually will tell you that I cannot go to therapy. Why sit around and talk to somebody who, one, at first is human, and two, they also fail, and secondly, telling you the things that you already know. But do you know that sometimes something that you already know, if somebody speaks to you, one, it sounds so different, like you've never heard it before. Two, it hits differently. Three, you begin to understand it better than the way you do. Because maybe you would say, yes, I know that it's one. But then somebody will come and say, yes, it is one. But do you know how we got one? It's because we moved zero to it and added something. Then you'll be like, if that's the case. Then you start to understand. This is why you need someone who can explain to you very well, or rather, who can listen. Because remember, it's not about just them talking to you about how you can implement things and improve your life, but it's about them also having that listening ear without judgment. All right, them looking at it in a logical sense, and them to give you the voice of reason, if I may put it this way. And that's how it's good. That's why it's good to go to a therapist. And the therapy people, please, let me put it this way: therapy is not just for the people that are broken. Therapy is even to the people that is thriving, the person that is so happy in this world. You need them, because then they help you in knowing how to channel every emotion, knowing how to channel every action, So they are there to listen to you without judging you. I know, yes, you're paying them. And I know also there are those that run on, is it NGOs or whatever? There are those that can do it maybe for free, or maybe if it's an hour or so. There are counselors out there that you can talk to as well. It's very important that you do so. And if you cannot go to a therapy, then find a mentor. And when I say mentor, most of the times it's a mentorship into trying to teach you some things, some skills of what they've done before, or what they're doing, or in the line that you're doing, or whatever. Yes. But when I talk also mentorship, because I'm thinking of a mentor, not a mentor. I don't know what it is, but I'm talking about someone that has been there before, right? Has been there before, and they understand fully what you're going through, and they're not there to sugarcoat things. That's one. They're there to tell you as it is. And yeah, you need them. You need them. And that way, it will help you to accept change quickly. If things were toxic at the time when that change was happening, or it's something that is drastic, or it's something that is even great, because sometimes you don't even know how to contain it, because it's so good to be true that you don't even know how to put it into plan or into practice. So you need people that can talk to you straightforward. And why I'm still emphasizing on the on the therapy, like I was saying earlier, you're having someone who is not going to judge you. Most of the times, why we do not accept change, and why we do not share most of our problems, or even just share our goals to anybody else, it's because we actually, like, we are on the receive we are the one giving the information, and yet we are also on the receiving end. I don't know if you understand what I'm doing. So it's like I'm sharing to you and already thinking what you're thinking for me when I'm sharing it. So so it becomes too much, because sometimes it's because you know the person, or not because they've done that to you before. Maybe you've heard of someone that they did that to. So even okay, you'll be like, oh yeah, they seem great to talk to, or because you're not sound minded, like you're not soberly ready to things through, right? So be like, okay, I just need to vent, and then you vent, and then as you are venting, then you realize, oh, I'm venting to a wrong person. And now as you now know that you're venting to a wrong person, right? You actually like, okay, why did I do that? So I'm sure probably is thinking like that. So your problem doesn't become even less, or it doesn't become lighter. But if you're sharing it with a therapist or a psychologist, if you may, it's that they're just looking at onto how you can improve, how you can heal from these traumas. And actually, you find that a therapist most of the times is not your friend. It's not a person that you can call buddy. It's not a person that you can go and have drinks with. They detach themselves with that kind of relation. So it's strictly business. It's strictly about hearing what you're going through. So that's about it. But the other thing is that you need to accept change. You need to be able to say, you know what, I know change is inevitable and I know it's not comfortable, but at the end of the day, it is good. And why I'm saying it is good is because I want to take it from the Bible where it says, all things work together for good to those who love the Lord. And why am I saying this? Yes, something can be quite daunting. Yes, something can be overwhelming. Yes, you could be hurt in the process. But at the end of the day, as you go by, you begin to understand it better and say, oh, this is why I've gone through it. And sometimes we go through things, and I remember telling someone to say, sometimes we go through things not for ourselves. Yes, you're feeling the pain. Yes, it was so hard for you to cope. But actually, God is preparing you to be that person that's going to stand for another person that you are very close to, the person that you really love, so that when you are going to be offering the services to them, you'll be sure to say, you know what, I once upon a time went through this, so I will be able to support you. And that person will be able to receive it because they saw you go through it. It's like, I think I'd shared this at one time. I don't know if I shared it here, but there was a time when, yeah, I won't really say the situation, but there was this bad situation that was happening. Yes, I had not gone through it, but I could empathize with them because I'd put myself into their shoes. And so I was there saying, you know what, you're going to pull through. You know what, this is not the end of the time. It's not the end of it all. And I think they took it wrongly. They thought, okay, it's because I am just what, you know what, babbling and talking about it. But in my head, I was like, I want this person to be the person that the one that I used to know. And I want them to get back to who they are and not forget who they are. And to them, they took it in the wrong sense. Why? Because in their mind, they're like, okay, you've never experienced this before. How do you know how I'm feeling? How can you even say such things to me? Hence, now the communication, instead of it being something that will be helpful, it ended up being hurtful. You understand that? But if I, or if anything, if you have to go through, or if you went through something and that person knew about it, the moment you're gonna start talking about it, they know that it's authentic, they know that you experienced it, they know it's coming from your heart, and you are actually talking about plans that work because you experienced it. Now, all these things can only happen when you accept the change, whether it is good, whether it's bad. We've already talked about the positive side of things, and we've also talked about this bad side of things. But the thing is that you need to learn to accept, and healing can only come when you accept that, you know what, this is what's happening right now. This is not dreaming. I'm not dreaming. This is real life, and this is now my life. So now, what can I do to improve it? Those are the things that you need to be thinking about. And when you do that, healing is on the way, and things get better and they get easier, and you'll be also of help unto another. Otherwise, stay positive, accept your situation, your new beginnings or your new endings or whatever it is. I don't know if there's even new endings, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say, right? And be able to be a shoulder for others so that they can cry onto, right? And yeah, sparkle in love with a lot of dash of kindness. This was your girl, Nene Cherry. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and hit the notification button, because when uploading your video, you will be among the MVPs that will see it first. Otherwise, bye-bye.